So let's get right into it. Mr. Dayo Akintobi joins us on the program today. Good morning, Mr. Akintobi. Are you counting down to Christmas as well?
Well, here, because of the weather, where I am right now, because of the weather, Christmas is largely indoors. So you don't see any sign, you don't see much sign of it, except, of course, in the shops. As you know, Christmas is so commercialized now. So there's a lot of shopping going on. But that festive atmosphere that we see in Nigeria, with people on the streets and parties and carnivals and, lots of confetti and decorations. I can imagine what I just said Adeogun Street looks like at this time of the year. There's no such sign here because everybody's all huddled up and bundled up because it is freezing cold right now.
Interesting. I think some people will give anything to have a kind of Christmas. Let me just day my day so I don't have to spend a lot. But let's take a look at New Telegraph this morning, Mr. Akintobi. And it leads with the Yuletide. You see, governors promise visible security presence nationwide. IGP orders redeployment of presidential escort officers nationwide. FG reopens 47 unity schools, reaffirms commitments to students' safety. Teachers threaten service withdrawal nationwide. And you see Northern Cancer Tinubu take decisive action on insecurity. There's so much security that even while we're discussing Yuletide, it's the security angle that is hogging the headlines. I know this year will go down as one of those years that Nigeria really had an insecurity challenge. The number of those kidnapped, over 300 students in one fell swoop. Now, that is a record, I must say. So, Mr. Akintobi, are you confident that perhaps 2026 will come with something better? Or do you foresee same old story with the actions or inactions you're seeing from government, that is?
Well, we've always got to keep hope alive. I mean, we can't begin to bog ourselves down in the notion of tomorrow can never be better. And so we must continue to believe that government will always do its level best. But we also have a role to play in encouraging government as well through the media, through public advocacy. We must continue to keep the government on its toes and let it know that constitutionally, security is the primary purpose of any government. Security and the welfare of its citizens. It puts a dampener on the season that at a time like this when we should all be coming out celebrating and being festive and sharing and caring and giving, that such a time like this is hampered by this insecurity problem. Historically, Christmas has been a time where a lot of Nigerians travel home to their villages, to their towns. That is being inhibited now because the fear of kidnapping is the beginning of wisdom. So it's very difficult to get on the road and say one is going anywhere to go and travel. So there's family members in our villages that we normally spend time with. It's kind of a time to de-stress, relax, and be in harmony with God and with man. So when things like this happen, because during a festive season, it's all the more vulnerable because people gather. They gather in marketplaces, gather at concerts, gather at festivals, gather at markets. And where crowds are is usually the most vulnerable place for insecurity attacks. So without a doubt, I know there are people who this year will not be contemplating going anywhere for the holiday season. That already has an impact on the economy because those who are going home usually take money to go and spend when they get to where they're going. So it has an impact on the economy. It has an impact on the morale. If you look around you, you don't see that excitement. You don't see the vivacity, the sheer adrenaline flow that we get at this time of the year. You'll feel the excitement in the air, especially since this dirty December started, to where it's a time of frenetic activity and celebration. But insecurity has dampened that a little bit to some extent. So 2026, well, there have been some moves that I've made towards the end of this year that give hope. There's the new Minister of Defense. There's the recent agreement that the federal government signed. I don't know, I'm sure you've discussed it this past week, to get some fighter jets from Italy. That should bolster our fight against criminality. Then, of course, there's the reshuffling of the service chiefs. there's quite a bit of initiatives underway that give a bit of hope for 2026, and we continue to hope and believe that things will be better.
Let's get to the Guardian newspaper. I think, was it the Guardian the other day? I can't remember the paper that also highlighted the reforms that are coming, the tax laws, I should say, on January the 1st. And this is getting another new set of resistance. Some persons are saying, halt the implementation for some time. They are considering this insensitive, illogical, ill-timed, and all of that. But this is how the Guardian is leading with their big story, which is a page 4 and 5 read. When pains of reform, old scars hound new tax era and promises. So government constantly, I know that I've interviewed Taiwo Yedele, several persons I've interviewed. They keep saying this is good for Nigeria, but Nigerians are saying this is bad for us. What do you make of it?
A communication problem. If it's good for Nigeria, he should be able to better explain. I've seen him on TV all over the place, but the more he talks, the more he seems to befuddle people, because anywhere you look, the fear of January 2 is what is pervading the atmosphere. Everybody says, oh, costs are going to go up because there's VAT going to be added to many things. So that now from January 2, money can't pass through your account, your bank account willy-nilly, because government is going to be tracking every kobo that passes through your account, and they will just take the money. They won't even talk to you about it. Once they see money passing through your account and it's undeclared, they will take it, which Mr. Oyedele has been saying, no, we don't just take it. We give you an opportunity to come and defend where it came from and how you got it. Bottom line is this, there's a communication issue. If anything is good for us, it shouldn't be that hard for you to explain to us in a way we understand. Because the poor man has been explaining, he hasn't stopped trying to explain since he first put out this proposal. Even before it got signed into law, he's been doing the media rounds trying to explain. But so far, Nigeria is not convinced. Both corporate Nigeria, the business world, ordinary Nigerians, everybody sees this thing that is going to be burdensome. And this government already has the perception of being a tax and spend government, that everything they want to do is tax, tax every possible corner where they can find to tax, they will tax us. They already have that perception, and let me tell you, in this day and age, perception is reality. So even if it isn't true, even if that isn't the government's motive, the fact that the public perceives it to be, that's the end of the story. We're always going to believe that this government will find every opportunity to tax us, and whether it is conscionable or not. So the government has a big role to hold. Now here comes this revelation in the last couple of days that the law as gazetted is different from the law as passed by the National Assembly. Whoop-de-doo, problem. I mean, something that was already unpopular to begin with, when I'm hearing it's been tweaked, well, they use the word tweaked. Then I also heard doctored, I also heard altered without the National Assembly's knowledge. So that further makes the public even all the more disgruntled with this thing that, wait, a tax law that's so intrusive into our lives. Remember this signing of the MOU between the FIRS and France. France of all countries, that every West African country in the sub-region is trying to divest all ties with France. Instead, we are now embracing France closer, signing an MOU that gives them access to our tax data. Even though the FIRS chairman has said, well, it's just is the kind of collaboration to help deepen our tax experience and knowledge, that they won't have any access to our sensitive data. Who wants to believe that? Come on. At the end of the day, the bottom line is you are in a dalliance with a foreign power that we are not comfortable with, and yet we have all these tech gurus, we have all these unicorns in Nigeria, Flutterwave and all these companies that are doing wonders in the tech space. Why you couldn't partner with somebody local and you have to go to France to go and now say you're partnering to deepen capacity is beyond me. So look, this whole tax reform, the new tax act, I don't doubt that it has some positives, but those positives have not been sold very well to the Nigerian public. Rather, the drawbacks are what seem to be gaining currency in the public's mind. And with what has happened most recently, with the House saying they have constituted a panel, I think headed by James Faleke, a rep from Lagos State. With that, depending on how that investigation goes, it won't surprise me if they have to put this thing off for a little while and maybe go and look at it again and try and make it more palatable to Nigerians. We're not saying we won't pay tax. We're not saying it's wrong to tax people. No, we know that government services come from money that's pulled from taxes.
Right.
But there's massive distrust of government that they don't do the right thing with it.
And you know, from the lawmaker, Abdusamad Dasuki, who sort of represented those concerned lawmakers, he said, you know, these are not just clerical errors from his own findings. Several oversight, accountability and reporting mechanisms approved by the parliament, he says, were removed in the final act. And he says new coercive and fiscal powers appeared without legislative approval. So major one, really, Mr. Akintobi, and of course, a lot of eyes on the new tax laws. But I think we can move on to the Vanguard newspaper. The Vanguard newspaper leads with the oil sector, Mr. Akintobi. You see far-reaching reforms coming, Ehsan Mohammed vow. Now, these are new names that Nigerians should get used to. These are the NUPRC and NMDPRA bosses that have been submitted to the Senate by President Bola Tinubu. So they were screened by the Senate, and this is the assurance that they gave, saying that they will ensure investor confidence, accelerate gas development. It's a page 5 read on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, but you also see that picture, guys, of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, with the Nigerian military aircraft crew. We had that discussion yesterday. We had to seek clarification from the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs about whether it is they're returning home or where exactly are they. So they said they will be returning soon, but other reports said that they were now heading to Portugal. But at least we're glad that this has been resolved largely, and yeah, everybody can sheath their swords, or in this case, their missiles.
Well, for that particular case study, at least now we know that the defense headquarters was not being forthright with the exact circumstances surrounding that situation, because what the defense headquarters told us was that they had operational challenges while they were flying, and then they had to make an emergency landing, and that all crew were fine and were okay. And what was coming through from Burkina Faso was, no, this is a breach of a fly zone that they were restricted from. So we demand more accountability when such issues arise. During that particular saga, I was quite concerned about whether this had to do with, inadequate knowledge or information about the new rules of engagement, particularly since Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, had exited ECOWAS, and they had formed another association of the Sahelian states. So we're glad that this has been resolved. For the new man and woman in the saddle at the NUPRC and the NMDPRA, there's a lot of excitement, that they bring professionalism to bear. They bring their new wealth of experience to bear in, their operations at the NMDPRA. There is excitement about a new era, of regulation, especially for the downstream oil sector. We hope that this era of face-off and tension between the regulator and the operators would, definitely come to an end, and there'll be some stability, and of course policies that would work well not just for the operators, but at the end of the day, will be profitable for Nigerians, who are the ultimate consumers of the products. The new woman in the saddle also brings some excitement, for the NUPRC. She brings 33 years of experience with the NNPC. She's a University of Benin economics graduate, and of course, practitioners in the industry are excited because she's well loved by those who operate in the industry and in the international community as well. Now let's head over to this Nigeria newspaper, which would be our last touch. Insecurity, 47 unity schools reopen after 30 days shut down. And that is some news to cheer. FG cites improved security amid lingering fears. Well, the children are on holidays now, I believe, as we approach Christmas. But when they resume, will parents be at ease to return their children to school? That is a very big question.
That's a prayer that we don't want to see these mass abductions again. But we couldn't get Mr. Akintobi to join me back, so we thank him. Mr. Akintobi is a public affairs analyst joining us from the UK, and we thank him for his insight as always. We'll take a break, and when we'll come back, we'll get to our very first conversation for the day. Join us again.